6,000 universities. Why choose North Carolina A&T? We graduate more African American students in engineering, journalism, liberal arts, and agriculture than any other campus anywhere, period. Our grads earn more right out of school than all but one other UNC system peer. And 96% of Aggie alums say they wish they can do it all over again. Can you feel the pride? You will. A&T. Always doing, never done.
Coming this morning. We've got a lot to talk about. Chancellor Martin has a lot to share with you here on our first day of school. So without any further delay, let's begin.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
Thank you very much, Todd. And let me welcome all our colleagues here today. It's the first day of classes, and it's an exciting day as always. It's always my exciting time of the year, quite honestly, as we are welcoming lots of new faces, students, undergraduate and graduate students, and lots of new faculty and staff, which we're very excited about as well. This is my 15th year starting with this university as chancellor, and I'm not sure if it's been a more exciting year than the start of this year as well, as we are looking again to accommodate lots of change, continue to focus on growth for the institution and managing that growth. And growth in a variety of ways, from enrollment growth to continued growth in research, continued growth in hiring new personnel. And equally as important, probably as much as anything, is the impact of our institution in substantial ways as well. On three core areas of conversation that are aligned with continued change and growth of our institution. And that's focused on the investments we're making on our campus. Through new construction and facilities to accommodate that growth. I'll make a few comments about that. And as many of you know, now we are heavily committed to growing our university as a competitive doctoral research university. And what that means to our institution, what it means to this region, and what it means to the state of North Carolina as well. And there are a variety of new doctoral degree programs and undergraduate degree programs we have been adding on in a very aggressive way to continue to enhance what we provide as a university to this community and to this region and beyond. Then I want to talk a little bit about the economic impact of our institution as well. The very first area I want to focus on is construction of our university, as we are recognizing this year, this institution will turn 133 years old as a result of the legislative commitment to create our institution in 1891. We all know that we have been having lots of discussions with our students about not only the growth, but the growing demands for additional housing for our campus. So our board has approved this new construction called Rufus Street Residential Complex. It is expected to turn dirt this fall semester to launch this new facility. It will be a 5-story complex, 413 suite style and traditional style residence halls, roughly $64 million investment for the university. It will be located in an iconic site of the institution in the northwestern part of the campus, just across from the Harrison Auditorium for the university, in that residential area that we've been making significant purchases of to expand the university in a significant way as well. And this facility will contain retail and dining outlets on the first floor that are critically important for our students. It will also be a very attractive new facility for a university that allows us to accommodate the expansion of needs for our students in a significant way in quality housing. And a couple of issues that are important here, because of the investments we're making. This project is critically important, and it will add substantially to the inventory of quality housing we provide. Before we made this significant investment, though, we made a commitment to acquire all of the major apartment complex style housing for students around the university. We created a real estate foundation that, on our behalf, purchased all of these apartment complexes around the university about 2,500 beds, about $230 million investment to acquire those facilities to accommodate expansion for our university. And now we're preparing to launch new construction residence halls for our university as well. So critical decision for our university, very significant investment that will accommodate growth for the institution. Additionally, we will spend about $13 million to continue to expand the role and importance of our university's education and research farm. You may be aware that we made an investment of about $50 million about 3 years ago to create a pavilion on the farm so that it creates an opportunity for us to accommodate conferences and meetings and guests and visitors and functions on the university's research and educational farm, which is critical to our land grant mission. This investment will allow us to support creating support for a creamery for the university, entrepreneurs who are stepping into the agribusiness space as farmers and developers in very significant ways. We're excited about this continued investment on our campus farm and the investment return that we expect this will create for us to continue to grow research, grow investments that stimulate entrepreneurial growth and job creation in East Greensboro and across the region as well. Additionally, we will continue to make investments in the university's Gateway Research Park. This is a 75-acre tract of land, as you are aware, on Gateway, East Gateway Boulevard. The facility to the left is a partnership with Gifford County Schools. It's a roughly $40 million, just shy of $40 million investment to create a community center that will be available to support training for this community and support services for parents and students who attend Gifford County Schools and educational programs that we will deliver in that space as well. We're also partnering with an organization called Impact Data, which will create an opportunity to invest about $110 million in this data facility called a Dream Center, which will be a technology educational center, both for doing business with our partners with Impact Data, but we'll also create space, about 25,000 square feet of that space will go for the university to extend its educational programs into that environment as well. To expand and substantial number of partners that we're creating with a relationship with, including Merck as an example, to build a biotechnology training center. Merck is investing about $4 billion in a new drug manufacturing facility in the Durham community. And we've been asked to partner with them to help prepare that competitive, diverse technical workforce that they're going to need to outfit that critical facility there as well. It is just one of the many organizations that are attracting to this community, in particular to Gateway Research Park, that will help them be increasingly successful in what they do there as well. Now, as we continue to expand on our mission as a land grant institution and as a competitive doctoral research university, we have made an investment in about 40 new degree programs, from baccalaureate degree programs to master's and PhD programs over the last 10 years. We will continue those investments with an array of new degree programs that have been recently approved and are now up for approval by the UNC Board of Governors as well. That includes 2 new degree programs that we will begin this fall. The first students enrolling this semester, bachelor's degree in business analytics and a master's degree program in data and business analytics. These are 2 of the fastest areas of growth and demand across the globe for increasing numbers of business recruitment demands for our university and universities across the nation for increasing numbers of individuals with the analytics skill sets, from the banking industry to consultancy groups to a host of industries that are investing substantially in data assessment and analytics that drive their business bottom line. These two areas are already critical demand areas for student interest for our campus. So we have a very strong population of new students enrolling in these new degree programs. In addition, we are expecting to begin enrolling our first students in the Master's and Physician Assistant Studies program. This is a great partnership with us in Cone Health. It provides an excellent opportunity for us to broaden substantially the work we're doing with healthcare providers throughout the state as a whole, and in particular here in the region, and certainly right here in Greensboro with Cone Health, who is a substantial partner, attracting lots of our nursing graduates and other healthcare professionals out of our Harrison College of Health Sciences. I get excited about a lot of degree programs, but this one is one that stimulates some of the most excitement for me, because I think it creates a tremendous opportunity for us to continue to address professionals in areas where there is critical need across our state and across the nation as well, and areas of opportunity for the university in substantial ways. Again, as we continue to expand our aspirations to advance our university to a doctoral research R1 category institution, that is a strategy for a university that has not only been approved and supported by our board of trustees, but has received overwhelming support by the president of the university system, the board of governors, as well as the legislature, which has baked into its budget, which I'll speak about in a moment, continued financial support for our institution in this area. These represent new degree programs that are now either before the president and his staff and the board of governors, or will be very shortly. The Master's in Criminal Justice, the PhD in Criminal Justice, and the PhD in Sociology are all degree programs in our College of Arts, Humanities, and Social Sciences. This will be the first doctoral degree programs in this new college that we created in 2015, bringing doctoral programs to every one of our colleges once these degree programs are approved. The second two are PhD programs or doctoral programs in our Harrison College of Health Sciences. Again, expanding the role we play in producing healthcare professionals that are critical to the growing needs of our community, the region, and the state as well. The PhD in applied psychology is under current review, as well as a doctorate degree program in nursing practice. Exciting new degree programs as an array of growth in expanding degree programs, enrollment growth at the PhD level, and in particular, our impact as a doctoral research university as well. Now, obviously, as we continue to invest in these new degree programs in a very strategic way, we clearly have to ensure that we are making investments in our university to allow us to continue to have the impact that we're having today. Every university, as a member of a community, looks to define how that institution is impacting the community, it's impacting the region, impacting the state. It is a vehicle for demonstrating the return on investment that donors, in this instance for us, the state legislature, makes as investments in our institution, as well as private donors who are making contributions to our institution that continues to grow our investment as private contributions to our university as we grow our endowment, and in turn invest in our university. As an outgrowth of our university's continued return to the state is the excellence of our faculty in their continued capacity, working with our Vice Chancellor for Research, Eric Muth, and his team, and our Provost, Dr. Tony Smith-Jackson, and our deans. We are seeing record increases in our research volume. As you can see, our research volume back in 2020 was about $60.9 million. And over the last 4 years, that research volume has grown to $147.4 million. This is a big deal, providing us in a position, a very firm position, third in the UNC system in terms of total research among the UNC system campuses. $50 million increase since 2022. But what is more important is what we do with that research, the innovation from that research that becomes patents or patent disclosures that we're able to commercialize in terms of technology. We either sell that technology to corporate partners and derive a return and benefit to the institution, or our faculty and graduate students use that innovation to spin out smaller companies from our university, creating corporate opportunities and jobs, not only for East Greensboro, for Greensboro and the Piedmont Tribe region as a whole. This is significant growth in our research, and it provides tangible evidence of the growing competitive role that we play and the impact of our institution, both in terms of creating jobs as well as influencing, attracting industries to not only North Carolina, but in particular to the Piedmont Tribe region, because this research is relevant to the growing needs for those industries we're attracting as well. The impact of that research, of course, continues to distinguish our faculty in a growing number of areas of significance, from artificial intelligence, autonomous vehicles, to agricultural businesses, as demonstrated here, bioengineering, nanomaterials, expertise that's critical to the future of this community, this region, and the state as a whole. So these strong research programs continue to support the growing influence and impact of our institution. Our ability to continue to do the things we're doing to deliver the new degree programs, to deliver on the growing research, and cultivating that research that is of meaning and value to this community and the region, we also have to see continued investments in our university as well. So currently, while the legislature is still debating its budget, long beyond the timeline that they normally take to finalize the budget, we're expecting hopefully the budget to be consummated certainly by the 1st of September. Baked into the legislative budget are these items that are critically important to our university's future. These are substantial and tangible levels of financial investment supported by the President and the Board of Governors, and that are highly being debated by both the House and the Senate. Again, another $15 million investment in our university. 10 of that is recurring, which means we can hire faculty and staff and postdocs and support personnel for our university year over year. An additional $5 million of that is what we refer to as non-recurring. We can invest in a variety of things, but you can't hire personnel out of that non-recurring portion. Again, we're a land-grant institution. Every land-grant institution in America receives both a federal appropriation of ag research funds, but also ag extension funds, where the research we do in our research facilities, including our agricultural and research farm, education research farm, we transport that research or share that research with business leaders and farmers and agribusinesses throughout North Carolina. That funding comes from the Department of Agriculture. Every state matches a portion of that agricultural research and agricultural extension funding. And these matching funds are critical to our university. And so this level of corporate support, agricultural corporate extension support, has another $10.7 million, doubling the amount of matching funds we will be receiving from the state for agricultural research and ag extension, which we're excited about. Our Hurston College of Health Sciences is our fastest growing college. It is our largest college. And most of our academic programs are scattered across several buildings on our campus. And we need to bring all of those critical health sciences programs into a single space. And we've requested $125 million to support a new College of Health Sciences academic facility. That building is still within the budget. We're excited about that as well. We also are requesting additional renovation funds to continue to support some of the critical buildings on our campus as well. Now, of course, as you are aware, with all of the corporate entities that have been attracted to North Carolina over the last 4 or 5 years, that are either coming to North Carolina, expanding into North Carolina, or expanding within North Carolina, such as Corning, Amazon, Google, Microsoft, Boom here in Greensboro, as well as Toyota battery manufacturers here in Greensboro, and other industries come to North Carolina. These industries are very substantially technology driven, which means they need record numbers of new engineering graduates at all levels, bachelor's, master's, and PhD. The legislature provided a substantial level of funding last year and are continuing that funding this year to support 3 colleges of engineering across the state, here at A&T, NC State, and UNC Charlotte, to ramp up enrollment growth across all levels, as well as producing more engineering graduates that will be critical to the needs of these industries as they continue to prosper here in the future in North Carolina. And so there'll be additional $2.5 million across our university and additional dollars at Charlotte, as well as NC State, that allows us to enable continued growth. These will be recurring dollars for the Dean of our College of Engineering to continue to invest in a variety of areas that supports continued growth there. And of course, a number of the universities are receiving funds to support the financial assistance of first-generation students and low-income students to attend our universities, in an attempt to ensure that we are reducing the debt burden of our graduates when they graduate from our institution as well. And so we're excited about the additional dollars we expect to receive to support students on our campus and across the UNC system as a whole. Now, all of these investments, the expenditures we make, the corporate visitors to our campus, salaries, and other operational expenditures for our university, it is important to be able to capture what all that means to this community and to the state as a whole. Our ability to do that, as most organizations do, is to perform an economic assessment impact. And we try to do that every 2 to 3 years for our universities so that we are continuing to assess the impact of our institution as we continue to grow and have influence in this community and the state as a whole. 2 of our distinguished faculty members, Dr. Manoir and Rodriguez Romero, completed another self-study for our university, assessing the economic impact of our institution, which we announced about 2 weeks ago now. 4 years ago, our economic impact was just shy of $1.5 billion. This new economic impact assessment puts our economic impact at about $2.4 billion. That is substantial. For a university of our size, to have that level of impact is huge. The influence growth of 63% over the past year's economic impact, and in particular, it's equivalent to producing about 17.3 thousand jobs across the state as a whole. This is tangible evidence that we're able to share with the governor, the legislature, as well as our distinguished donors and contributors to our institution, the growing and continued influence and impact of our institution. We expect we will continue to see, because of growth in enrollment, research, and influence, that our university will continue to see economic impact, growth for our university in years to come. So as we look across the university today, as we open the institution, the first day of classes, there's a lot to be excited about. This year, we will see many exciting things occurring. We expect to see another record number of students graduating from our university, corporate entities descending upon our institution, recruiting our graduates for internships in corporate positions all over America in significant numbers. We've seen, as a result of our enrollment growth, that graduates from our university have moved from about 1,400 graduates when I arrived here in 2009 to approximately 3,000 graduates today. That's a huge impact for our institution. We expect to see that continue to occur this year as well. When our enrollment settles over the next week or so, with students finalizing their enrollment with the university within what we call the census stage, we expect to see another enrollment growth for our university this year as well, making it 10 years continued consistent enrollment growth for our university, cementing our posture as the largest HBCU in America. While that's an important soundbite, the important reason for that growth is the impact of our institution, tangible impact, producing outstanding graduates, engaging in substantial research, and enhancing the economic and competitive posture of Greensboro, Gifford County, Piedmont Triad region, and the state as a whole. So we're excited about this year, and to top it off, our impact in this community and the like. Many of you know we have joined the Coastal Athletic Association, the CAA. It is the most competitive FCS conference in America. So we have to perform. So we're looking to see another opportunity to see our institution in a very visible way, tangible way, bringing outstanding institutions into this community, competing on our playing fields and our football field and our Aggie basketball arena, softball and baseball, and competing in a very competitive way, which we're very excited about as well. And we're expecting this community to continue to be supportive of not only our role in athletics, but in particular in our role as an economic driver of this community and the region as a whole. Another exciting year, 15th year for me, and I'm overly hyped, as one might say, about what this means for our university and for this community as well. So I'll stop there and see if you have any questions. Yes.
I do. As a former student, I must say I'm pretty jealous of all of this new, all these new things, but especially for housing, the new dorm that's coming. What impact do you think this is going to have on campus? Because I remember as a student, housing was a huge issue. Before I came, it was an issue. So now to have this solution, how do you think that's going to solve a lot of the problems on campus?
Well, housing, this new investment clearly will add additional housing for our university as well. We also have a variety of housing on the campus, from relatively mature units. As we build new facilities, we also want to take some of those older units offline. Those that are appropriate for renovations, we'll make investments to continue to enhance the quality of those units. Some of them, what I would characterize as having outlived their usefulness, and we will demolish those and build in their places new residence halls as well. So there'll be a net improvement in numbers of units available for our students, but we also want to make sure that we'll continue to keep our housing inventory at the highest level of quality. And so big impact for our students, yes. But there's a bigger question for me and our board as I have conversations with this community as well. Housing for our university is a critical issue and more substantial than with most universities. It's one of the reasons we are providing a more significant level of housing for our students, percentage-wise, than most any university in America. About 60% of our students are provided housing at the undergraduate level. Most universities are around 30 to 40%. And one of the reasons that's important here, and it's an important conversation for me, is because of the lack of limited investments in East Greensboro for quality housing. That includes apartments and single-family units for individuals who want to purchase homes as well. So our housing issue is a more critical challenge because there needs to be a big investment in East Greensboro. And every day I get an opportunity to share that conversation with our mayor and city council and county commissioners and developers. We do so because we need to continue to see that level of investment occur.
And with the new housing and all of the new renovations, is that going to cause an increase in tuition?
Typically, housing units are built through debt service. The state doesn't provide, in general, state appropriations to invest in housing for universities. So institutions have to issue bonds and take out loans to retire those loans, those bonds. The resources to retire that debt typically comes from the rent that students pay. So that doesn't increase the students' cost to attend, but we have to make sure that we also are managing debt across other areas as well. Housing, athletics facilities, parking decks, et cetera, as well. So we have to make sure that we're balancing investments in housing in addition to those other areas that are critically important for our university's continued growth that are not a function of state appropriations as well. Now, we've just completed a new master plan, one of the most substantial master plans in the university's history, just this past February, approved by our board. That includes a significant number of new facilities, from academic classroom buildings and research facilities that we expect the state to make investments in. But those other facilities, athletic facilities, residence halls, parking facilities, and the like, we will have to make investments in. And we'll try to mitigate as much as we can the burden of that adding cost to attendance for our students. Now, there will be some level of adjustment over time, but we will mitigate as much of that as we have to compete. We have to compete with other universities who are recruiting the same time we're recruiting as well. And so we'll have to make sure that we're making those investments as well. So there will be some levels of cost, but we'll manage that cost.
Dr. Martin, since we're talking about housing, we've been hearing that there's a particular apartment complex. It's off campus, it's not affiliated with your university, but the conditions apparently were deplorable when some of the students went to go into their apartments. I was wondering if the university was aware of that, and if you are you doing anything to try to help accommodate these students and find other housing for them?
Yes, we are. We do. Our housing unit is aware. Quite honestly, what we've attempted to do is ensure that we've had ongoing conversations with every apartment complex and their administration. We've contracted with a group called College Pads. They have worked with us to evaluate all of the apartment complexes that we make available through College Pads for our students and their families. And what we've gained is an assurance through that assessment that these apartments would be safe, provide appropriate accommodations for our students, and a competitive quality of cost to attend, and administrative staff that are responsive to the needs of our students and their parents. Now, I've not been briefed fully on where we are relative to that apartment complex, but our student housing management staff and our Vice Chancellor Student Affairs will share with me this afternoon what our initial plans are to reallocate our housing for them somewhere else. We also have some additional housing on campus that's become available because students have made decisions while they reserved housing space on campus. They elected to get private housing. And as a consequence, those spaces are now available. So we move some of those students into campus housing, and others we may have to put up in hotels until we make provisions for them to be in other apartment complexes around the community as well. Those are private units.
Right.
Once a person signs a lease, there's a legally binding agreement with that family or that student in that apartment complex. We cannot intervene on, but we can make provision for those who still are available and have not committed to a housing lease, or may be able to break that lease because of the circumstances they find themselves.
But if they signed a lease, they're out of luck, pretty much.
They may very well be.
Are there measures being put in place to keep something like this from happening, like these apartment complexes from staying off of your list of recommended apartment complexes?
Well, obviously, this one will not be on our list going forward. We'll also tighten our conversations with our contracted group, College Pads, to make sure that such groups are thoroughly vetted in the future to ensure that this won't happen again for our students. It is unacceptable for our students and their families to deal with this kind of stupidity, quite honestly. And so it's annoying at best that we have to continue to deal with some circumstances like this. Now, fortunately, it's only one unit. We've had apartment complexes in this community that have done a very, very poor job of preparing themselves, not just our university, but almost all of the universities who have utilized several of these apartment complexes in the community. I think part of that becomes there's so few apartments available in this community in general, and in particular for student housing, that there's this perspective that we have a corner on the market and we don't have to put as much into administrative costs and overhead, and we have to get beyond that kind of unacceptable professional behavior.
Thank you, Dr. Martin.
Okay, I have two questions. Questions number one, I believe that AET has a program I think it's called adult living,
Yes.
in which it more or less creates a situation where students become aware of the cost of living off campus. And the second question is, do you have a mean value of how much housing costs that's controlled by the real estate foundation compared to A&T's on-campus housing?
Yes, so let me take the first question. We have a program that's called Aggies at the Goal Line. I'm not sure if that's the program you're making reference to. It is an academic strategy to allow adult learners who, for whatever reasons, were close to completing their degrees, but life got in the way. They had families, they had to work, other circumstances, health circumstances. They got close to completing their degrees, but 10, 15 years ago, they dropped out of college. They stopped college. And we've enabled a large number of those adult learners to return to college with financial assistance from the institution to complete their degrees. So we have record numbers of students who are now enrolled as adult learners. They be either online or maybe taking classes in person on campus. And they are earning their degrees in record numbers and redefining the outcomes for their futures and their families' futures. So I'm not sure if that's the program you're making reference to. And we have a host of financial literacy programs that we provide to our students to ensure that they understand the burdens of borrowing money to attend college and borrowing only what they need. And we have a host of programs that help them prepare as they're leaving the institution to ensure that they're prepared to be more financially responsible when they go out into the workplace as well. Now, housing, cost of housing. There's a separate board that oversees our real estate foundation. And the cost to manage those units and for our students to attend, we try to maintain the cost of those apartments. Now, they have higher level of amenities for our students than some of the residence halls. And so the cost to attend and live in those residence halls may be slightly more because they really are similar to living in private apartment complexes out in the community. So we're not at private apartment rates by any measure, but they're within the cost to attend our university and the cost of housing for the institution overall. And so there's not a dramatic difference between the real estate foundation housing and the university's provided housing.
Chancellor, we have some media who are taking part in the media availability today via LinkedIn, as we're live streaming that. David Rice from Higher Ed Works is asking, the newly announced research figures, how might they factor into deliberations at the state level over NC innovation, if at all?
They will factor in the assessment of those institutions who become partners in NC Innovations. Our university is one of the 4 institutions who've been invited to be a part of NC Innovations and to host a hub on the campus to deliver the services through NC Innovation to help those individuals who have created innovative ideas, faculty, graduate students, undergraduate students, individuals in the community, capture those ideas and move those ideas into fruition and creating jobs, creating companies, startup companies, et cetera. So our $147.4 million puts us in a very competitive posture of supporting the innovation of our faculty and graduate students and stimulating increased numbers of innovative ideas that have potential for commercialization. And so the larger that pool grows, the more research we do, the more faculty, students who are involved and engaged, drives more innovative ideas and enhances the potential for spinning out that technology that's created under that research support.
Chancellor Martin, one of our mini slogans is achieving great goals in everything. And for you as a former student and now as the chancellor, how does it make you feel to see A&T literally living up to that slogan as far as the new renovations, all of the new academic programs, the graduation rate, new students coming in? How does it make you feel to see this in real time?
Obviously, I'm very proud of what we do. It's a great team effort. We have an exceptional board that works very strategically with my leadership team and me. Outstanding faculty and staff, and we just have incredibly bright students from all over the world. We're a great ecosystem, an ecosystem of excellence that we've been focusing on for quite some time. And it's allowed us to position the university in such a tangible way. Having grown up here in Winston-Salem, the Piedmont Triad region, having been a part of the economy of that window, having worked at R.J. Reynolds in the manufacturing place as an undergraduate student, and those jobs haven't gone away. And now seeing our university be a key part of a very aggressive strategy to change the narrative, the economic posture of this state is a significant role and responsibility for us. This is very exciting for me personally, for our candidate. And so to see that happening with a great team effort provides great opportunity for the future for us. And so not only that, it allows our university to continue to be a beacon of opportunity for really incredibly outstanding students who are coming to this institution in record numbers, and we are producing graduates who are thriving when they leave this institution. That to me is exciting. When I finished my undergraduate degree and went off to pursue a PhD in electrical engineering at Virginia Tech, there were very few students from our university going off to pursue PhDs in general, and particularly in engineering. We are one of the leading universities in America that are producing African-American graduates in engineering in general, but who are going on to get PhDs, not only in engineering, but a variety of disciplines. The areas that I spoke of, that we're adding in record numbers and new degree programs in the institution are creating opportunities for our university that will continue to have substantial impact. Always doing, but never done.
And speaking on impact, in just a few short weeks, you're going to have alumni coming home for Aggie Eagle and for homecoming. So are you excited or intrigued to hear those conversations on campus? Like, what, I can come back and get my PhD here, or this wasn't on campus when I was here. I'm doing that a lot when I talk to other students. But are you excited for that buzz to be around campus within the next few weeks?
Absolutely. It changes in significant ways in my mind the meaning of homecoming. It changes the conversation and narrative when our alumni visit the campus again. Some alumni have not visited in some instances in 5, 10, 15, 20 years, and are coming back for the first time. I'm thoroughly and excitedly engaged. And so they're also beginning to see the potential for themselves, not just coming to socialize, but to see the growth and impact of the institution, but also the potential for themselves and members of their own family as well. So for us, the opportunities are immense. We have to continue to be smart about our growth, managing our growth, and quite candidly managing the change of our university as we look to the future as well.
Chancellor, we'll have to conclude there. Chancellor will be available for just a couple of minutes for wrap-up questions here, and then we've got another obligation next door. Thank you all for coming.
Well,
6,000 universities. Why choose North Carolina A&T? We graduate more African American students in engineering, journalism, liberal arts, and agriculture than any other campus anywhere, period. Our grads earn more right out of school than all but one other UNC system peer. And 96% of Aggie alums say they wish they can do it all over again. Can you feel the pride? You will. A&T, always doing, never done.